Hey guys, Bob again, and we're going to be talking about Thundercats number two. I did Thundercats number one a little while ago, which basically just encompassed like the first couple episodes of the Thundercats, which was entitled Exodus when it was released originally, and now we have number two. And I'm going to say this again. I talked about the artwork is awesome in my opinion. Okay, it really is. I love it. I love like the classic artwork and everything. It's great. The coloring is so atrocious. They had no idea what to do with these Thundercats. They couldn't figure out the colors, so we don't get a blue suit here on Lion-O, because they had that light blue. That light blue should be right there. So like they had that color, but would not put it on there. Her suit was more orange. We have the orange right there. They colored her bow staff orange, but wouldn't do that for the outfit. It's very wild. But again, the colors are just as bad on the inside, unfortunately. But here we go. We have Thundercats number two, and we have the Thunder Tank barreling through the Robert Burbles. Okay, now in the first comic we did not get the Robert Burbles. Okay, so this is our introduction to them in the comics. All right, but I'm pretty sure that what was going on is with the comic series, it was just more of a continuation of the show. So we got the first issue, which basically was a recap of the introduction of the Thundercats and why they were on Third Earth and such. But then this is going off on its own, just as a continuation from the television series. But Panthro's barreling through the Robert Burbles here with the Thunder Tank, and Tigra jumps out to save Robert Bill, and he finally gets the Thunder Tank stopped, and he's like, "I'm sorry, I've been building this thing with a bunch of spare parts, and I guess I don't have all the kinks worked out yet." And Chitara's like, that's no excuse for endangering our friend's Panthro. Way to make Panthro feel incredibly guilty there. Like, he apologized, but I mean, yeah, there was a danger, but they saved the day or whatever, right? And Tigra kind of gives us the exposition that it's important that we keep these Robert Burbles alive because we are eating their burble fruit, which apparently I guess we wouldn't have if we didn't have the Robert Burbles, and this is our main source of food. Okay. That's not how it was said here, but that's how I took it, is that we probably shouldn't hurt the Robert Burbles so that, we can have their food, okay? And then they say, also without their help, we never would have been able to build the cat's lair, okay? So, Panthro apologizes again, and they start asking, Starf appears, and he's like, "Hey, where's Lion-O at? Because it's time for Lion-O's nap." And Chitara's like, "I saw him go through here a few minutes ago in this direction, but I don't think that he is going to want to take a nap or have you tell him it's time for a nap, so it's probably not going to work out." Wily Kid here is like, "I'd like to go with you to see this." And Snarf is like, "We don't really, need your help or anything." But she's like, "I'd like to go because it's fun." I'm not sure why Wily Cat is pissed off here. There's no word bubble for it. He's just pissed off. Okay, good for him. So we cut to Lion-O in the woods here with the Sword of Omens, hacking trees and everything, and then he notices that he's being watched the whole time, and Wily Kit's like, "I couldn't help it, you were so cute." Can I just put this out there that mentally Lion-O should be the same age as Wily Kit and Wily Cat? It's only through a freak accident with a suspended animation chamber that his body grew to like full adulthood, but mentally, he should still be a child. You would think that he would get along more with Wily Kit and Wily Cat. But even in like the cartoons, he didn't do that. And I know that, Thundercats was like a major thing where they were like, it's time to grow up and everything, That was like one of the main things with Lion-O was, teaching you to put away the childish things and to grow up or whatever in a kid's cartoon that you were attached to and wanted to watch. But it's what it is. But they're she's letting him know that she thought it was cute or whatever, and he's like, "Oh well, I wasn't just playing. I was out here doing important things like finding this food. I found these berries here." And Snarf's like, "Fuck those berries," and smacks them straight out of his hand. And he's like, "Don't you know that you shouldn't be eating any alien food that we haven't tested or whatever because we don't know what it would do to us or whatever?" And Lion-O's just like, "Oh, right." But then once Snarf goes off talking about how it's time for Lion-O's royal nap, we can see Lion-O here winking at Wily Kid, who's just like, "Oh yeah, I'm with you. I'm digging what you're doing here." And then he eats these berries, and she's just like, "Oh, you're such a bad boy." And then they go running after Snarf. The whole time, apparently, the Sword of Omens is kind of warning Lion-O of something, but not really. So that's weird because we get a whole caption here talking about how it's like humming or whatever. But we cut to Castle Plundar. I do love how the villains here, we got Slythe and Jackalman Monkey, they came to Third Earth to destroy the Thundercats and to get the Eye of Thundera. And then, of course, their ship was taken down by Mumra and sank in the sand, so they don't have a way of getting back. But I thought that Mumra had said that if you help me rid these Thundercats, or if they help him rid Thundercats, whatever the deal was, that he would be able to get their ship out. At that point, they'd be able to go home. So I don't know why you would go and build an entire castle. But their castle is being built by the Brute Men. Now, again, I know this is a continuation of what we got from the cartoon. So we know that the Brute Men were already introduced. And, of course, they're being treated as slaves. And, we can see Jackalman here whipping one because apparently he wasn't working hard enough or fast enough. When Slythe just comes over and he's like, that, beating him won't do any good. You'll have to get another lackey to take his place. And he just kicks him off the ledge. This is a kid's comic here where he just went and murdered this fucking slave. That's fucking insane. I can't believe that. But then he, talks about what Mumra did to get them these flying ships or whatever. And then we cut back to Lion-O, who obviously is not doing good from the berries he just ate. And he's passing out, and he tells me, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't have eaten those berries." And I'm surprised that we don't get another slap from Snarf that's like, "Yeah, you shouldn't have eaten these berries." But then he goes and uses the Eye of Thundera to call the Thundercats because now he's in danger. Can I just say I feel like that's a complete waste? But I mean, he is in danger, but it's like, come on, kid, So, the eye goes up and the Thundercats are like, "Holy shit, we got to go save Lion-O again." So they race out to where Lion-O is and collect him and bring him back. And Snarf shows Robert Bill the berries, and Robert Bill's like, "Oh, we don't have any way of curing this. This dumb fucker shouldn't have eaten these berries because it's going to give him a fever, and he's either going to break the fever or die, right?" And the Thundercats look a little sad about that, right? And then we cut back over to Mumra, where Slythe and them visit or whatever, and Slythe is like telling him, "You've been most generous, but as of yet, you've done nothing to help destroy our mutual foes, the Thundercats." And then, of course, I love how, I don't consider Slythe to be very smart, as what we watched. He's a bumbling idiot like the rest of the villains or whatever. The smart one was supposed to be Mumra, but Mumra keeps getting baited by Slythe and to show, all of his powers all the time and everything. And it looks like Mumra falls for it each time. And he's like, "Okay, I'll show you, what power is. There you go." And then Slythe and Jackalman and everything are like, here's one of the Thundercats now, which is Snarf. So you can go and capture him, and I'll zap you guys right to where he's at. So Snarf went to where the Thundercats ship had crashed because he is looking to get Lion-O's teddy bear because he thinks that will help Lion-O feel better. Okay, I can see that, a nursemaid would feel that way. That's a plausible thing to me. What is implausible is the fact that they have a teddy bear. it was like a planet of cat people, right? This isn't even like, this is just your standard teddy bear. So I guess this is on the artist's, he could have created like a three-eyed teddy bear or something like that, but he just went with your standard teddy bear. And then of course Snarf gets grabbed up by Slithe and taken away, and Robert Bell sees this happening. So Robert Bell races back, and she's like, "Hey guys, we know your leader's dying, but you got to go help your pet nursemaid here." And I guess the three important Thundercats are like, "All right, we'll do that, but I think we should actually stay with Lion-O." And Chitara's like, "Well, you can't do any other good here. We got to go save Snarf." And he's like, "You're right. Maybe that's the best thing since we can't do anything else. But you two stay here and watch after Lion-O." Now, here is where I can see Wily Cat being pissed off, right? Because I swear almost every time in the cartoon, they were constantly telling them to stay back at the thing. And whenever they left, they ended up getting in trouble or saving the day. So it was a 50-50 deal on that. But it's like, come on, guys. Like, let them do shit, okay? But they're sitting there, like, trying to help Lion-O and nothing's happening. He makes the comment that we're Thundercats too, which had nothing to do with the dialogue that's happening over here, right? Like here, Wily Kid is just like, "Don't worry, Lion-O, we'll protect you." And I guess maybe he's saying we're Thundercats too, as in we can protect you because we're Thundercats. I don't know. The dialogue seemed a little out of place. But here we have the Thundercats in the Thunder Tank going after Snarf, right? Which is weird because Snarf was just shoved in a bush here by Slithe and them. So they're going to go over to get him. Chitara runs over really quick and grabs him out of the bush, and he's like, this is a trap, of course. And then here comes Slithe and all of these brute men, right? So these poor brute men are slaves. It was established in the cartoon. I think in the Robert Burble episode that, these brute men were actually gentle creatures and everything, and that they were being used by the bad guys or whatever to build Castle Plundar. But these guys are just like, maybe so, but even without, even though they have a whole army or whatever, they still got to deal with Thundercats. Can I just say, this is like the tiniest little splash page they wanted to do to make it look epic by putting the Thundercats logo and everything back there. Back in the day like that, you wouldn't get many of the splash page entries. That would have made for a good one. But here we have the Thundercats just beating the hell out of these brute men, just whipping the fuck out of them, having them beat themselves with clubs because they're running past. But just look at this. They are just smacking the fuck out of everybody. And I just have to feel weird about it, considering what was established in the cartoon, right? And now we have, Lion-O's here. He still feels like shit. Wily Kit's passed out on the floor. And Jaga appears. And Jaga's like, "You need to go help your friends right now." And Lion-O's like, "Come on, man. I feel like shit. I can't do that right now." And Jaga's like, just because you feel like shit, you don't have the luxury of laying down and being sick or whatever because of your stupidity. You got to get up there and help your friends because they're getting their asses kicked. And Lion-O's like, "All right, I guess if I have to," or whatever. So he uses the sword, and the sword does a thing that maybe this has happened in the cartoon. I'm not going to claim to have seen every episode of the cartoon ever in my life. I watched it in the beginning. I watched it for a while, but the sword takes off, and Lion-O just hangs on to it and flies right past Wily Cat, the best guard ever. And here again, we have them saying, "Okay, guys, I don't think we're going to last because these brute men, there's just so many of them. And no matter how many we cut down, they keep coming." And then here comes a nice sword that swoops in there, apparently, again, cutting a bunch of brute men, as we can see here. And Slithe is like, "Oh no, it's a fucking another Thundercat." And Chitara's like, "It's Lion-O, So he's like, "Yes, go, fight." And here we have Panther just knocking the fuck out of these poor brute men. And, he's like, "Attacat, Lion-O, you cut a path from that end, and I'll go in from this one." and he's just like, what the fuck? Are these dead brute men back here? Dead and beaten brute men from Panthro? And then are these guys dying? Like, what is going on here, right? We see he's not attacking the monkey in here. He's just attacking the brute men here. And then, you know, Panther finally gets to the Thunder Tank, and he's like, boy, are you guys in for a surprise. Look at this shit. The second he jumped in there, he hit the panic button, and then this fucking Thunder Tank did everything it can do. It's shooting grappling hooks and chomping and clawing and firing lasers from a thing where there's not even a person there to fire the laser and everything, right? It went and did everything. That shit is hilarious to me. I busted out laughing out loud to this, okay? And they're just like, fuck you, slaves, and just killing them all. This is amazing. How the fuck did this comic get made? This was cracking me up, but in a horrible way, because this whole book is cringe from beginning to end, right? This Monkeyan is hearing a Thundercat, but he's just like, where are you? Because while we fought you 100 times, we've never fucking learned your powers. So I keep forgetting that Tigra can turn fucking invisible. At this point, they should know all of that shit, right? Like, before they even go into battle, they'd be like, hey, guys, remember, Tigra can turn invisible, and fucking Panthro has nunchucks, and Cheetara is, like, super fast and shit. But they forget it every fucking time, right? So here, this tank is still decimating everything, and Cheetara's like, move in, we can finish them all off, and Slythe is like, okay, no. Mumra, we need your help. You got to get us the hell out of here because we don't know what we're doing. And Mumra zaps everybody away at Slythe's command, which I find to be hilarious. But right after the battle, they're like, Lion-O, are you okay? And he's like, actually, I think by killing so many of these poor fucking slaves, it made me feel a lot better, and I broke through the fever. So I'm doing great now. So I guess that's the lesson for today. So they go back to the cat's lair, and I guess Lion-O was like saying, what was so important that you had to go out there to get captured or whatever? And Snarf's like, oh, I wanted to get your fucking teddy bear because I thought that would make you feel better. And Lion-O's like, oh, well, you didn't have to do that. You don't have to take care of me like that because I'm a grown man and, you know, blah, 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 even though I still do stupid shit like eat berries that are poisonous or whatever. And he's like, you know what? I'll take care of this thing and get rid of it for you. And, but instead of getting rid of it, he saves it. He puts it in a thing and says, you know, just because I have to leave my childhood behind doesn't mean I need to forget it. And Jaga jumps out, and Jaga's like, you know, you're right. You don't want to forget the past because that's where you learned your mistakes and you learned what to do better. So this is like the lesson and moral that we get at the end of every episode of the Thundercats. We're getting it in this comic here. And then we cut to Mumra again. And Mumra apparently has a way of just looking into the fire here and seeing everything that's happening in the cat's lair. This, can I just say that for Mumra, this would be like the Thundercats reality show. He's just constantly watching everything that the Thundercats do. He's seeing Cheetara when she showers. You know what I mean? Yeah, so he's just constantly watching. But he noticed here, he's like, you know, the wisest of the Thundercats still exists apparently. And at least in a spiritual form. And I find that interesting. Also, he's going to use that for a way to destroy the Thundercats, which we'll see in the next issue. So I have to say, this one was not one of the better issues of the Thundercats. This was like so misguided if you're going by what the show established. So I guess if you are, you know, a person who just read the comics and never saw the Thundercats cartoon, you would walk away from this and be like, okay, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't bad or whatever. But, you know, knowing what you know, this whole book here just became, like, fucking horrible. So this one did not work out, unfortunately. We'll see how Thundercats 3 is in a couple days, and I'll review that one. So, guys, again, my name is Bob, and I'm a comic book artist. And I'm working on a comic right now called Ghost Girl, which is my own creation. If you liked this video, please hit like. It helps my channel grow, and I'm trying to get my name out there. If you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe so that way you'll be alerted when new videos drop, which is pretty much every day. All right, so I want to thank you guys for watching. See ya.